What's up, Bay Area? I'm your guest host, Clive Worsley, Executive Director of the California Shakespeare Theatre. And today I'm going to be talking to my good friend, Sandy Preto, President and co-founder of Notes4Hope. Notes4Hope is a Bay Area mission-based nonprofit that builds community through the healing power of music to raise awareness and funds for breast cancer research and prevention initiatives. Sandy, welcome to What's Up, Bay Area.
Hey, Clive.
So good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Notes4Hope, how it got its start, and what its mission is here.
Okay. Yeah, so it started in 2013, so it's been 10 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. 10 years, that's a significant number when you are a breast cancer survivor, and I am. So I was diagnosed in 2011 with stage 3 breast cancer. And it was a long journey, lots of surgeries, chemo, radiation. And through the process, we just learned a lot, met a lot of people. But the co-founder of Notes4Hope, Mark Carlton, actually threw an end of cancer celebration of life, and we deemed it FU Cancer or Fuck Cancer, where he hired a band. The band happened to be Loose, and Tom is one of our board members, the lead singer of Loose. But it was just such a euphoric experience. I got to dance with my oncologist. My breast surgeon was there. My plastic surgeon was there. My closest friends and family were there. And at the end of the evening, we were just all so mesmerized and excited and fulfilled by this community and connection that we all experienced together, that we thought we could really make something out of this. And it was really birthed that evening, the thought of Notes4Hope.
And so what has it grown into? What are the kind of activities that Notes4Hope is involved in?
Well, we started doing concerts specifically because of our love of music. And again, music really brings people present in the moment, which is so important because we know stress is a lot of cause for diseases in general. It's kind of the barrier to entry. And so we thought this would be great. In addition to that, you know, a lot of people, including myself, I was only 45 at the time and had 3 young kids. I can't go to San Francisco at 11 o'clock at night and go to a concert. So we really wanted to combine featuring local artists and do it on an earlier time frame, kind of in our own backyard, and make it accessible to people in our community and families, and put the spotlight on breast cancer, but also just things that people aren't aware of about breast cancer. So really it's set up as an education nonprofit so that we can really build that awareness, because people don't realize, people are aware of breast cancer, but they don't understand what they can do to kind of protect themselves and maybe prevent it, or at least prevent it from reoccurring, which was, you know, kind of my major focus.
Sandy, tell us a little bit about the prevalence of breast cancer in America today. How many people are affected?
Well, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in our lifetimes. And I believe that is actually going to increase, as in 1 in 7, 1 in 6. And what people I don't think realize, Clive, is that 90% of breast cancer is not genetically driven. So there's less than 10% of all breast cancers are from some genetic defect, as far as we know.
Right.
But so that leaves a lot of area. For example, I did not have that in my family, and I was tested. I have no genetic markers for breast cancer, and yet I still got it, and into stage 3 level.
Shocking statistics, really, when you start to think about it.
Yeah.
And so Notes4Hope produces these live music events, both to raise awareness about breast cancer, but also, you said, to raise funds to help breast cancer treatment and prevention. You talk a little bit about who those benefactors are, who has benefited from Notes4Hope's activities.
Well, we started out as a pass-through. So we would raise the money, and then we'd look for like-minded organizations and that we continue to work with to this day. Breast Cancer Prevention Partners out of San Francisco. They are really responsible for getting toxic chemicals out of everyday products. And that was clearly very important to me. And we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about the war kits and what those do now. But things like lotion. What women don't realize is they probably put on 200 something different chemicals every day between washing their hair, their lotion, their makeup, their perfume. And so it's important to really be aware of that. Are there endocrine disruptors? Not to use a big words, but it's important for people to understand what's in their products. It's also what's in your food and what's in the air, but we wanted to make people more aware of that. So we partnered with Breast Cancer Prevention Partners, as I mentioned, and they do amazing work. They literally got BPA out of cans. They got formaldehyde out of Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo. They have really worked with the cosmetic industry to make sure that cosmetics are clean and cruelty-free, quite frankly.
Right.
And then another organization we work with, and we continue to work with, is Cancer Support Community out of the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a national organization, but they provide free services to the individual going through whatever cancer it is, not just breast cancer, and their caretakers and anyone affected by it. So family members, and the services, as I mentioned, are free. So it's one-on-one counseling, it's group counseling, it's nutrition classes, it's sewing, it's music, it's lots of different things. It's yoga. And so I just find them to be a really wonderful place for people to come together and support one another. That's
great. And so prevention is a big focus of yours, right?
Yes.
The idea being hoping to get to people before they need treatment to work on the prevention side. So talk a little bit about how the war kits here that Notes4Hope provides to people in a cancer journey. Talk about how they intersect with that idea of prevention.
Well, I think eventually we would like more people to think about prevention, but it's sometimes difficult. So what we have with our war kits is give them to people that have already experienced cancer, and it's not just breast cancer, because this kit really is useful for anyone, although there are specific things in it for breast cancer patients, but it's prevention of reoccurrence. That was a main focus of mine because I already got cancer, and that was shocking to all of us. But I want to make sure that I prevent it. I don't want to have a reoccurrence. And it's not just a 10-year mark. It's forever knowing that I have the propensity to have that come back. And that's a motivator. And I want to make sure eventually people feel motivated to want to prevent it because they know someone who has gone through breast cancer, or they don't want it, or a family member or something like that.
Right. It's great. Sandy, you are, as you said, a survivor, but you're the kind of survivor who has so much positivity, so much hope in you, and you have this way of sharing that, of spreading that to people. And so we're curious about how Notes4Hope is going to continue to spread that hope in 2023. What's on the horizon?
Well, it's interesting you even mention that, because when we started doing Notes4Hope, I didn't think about really what my role would mean to people. And now that it's been 10 years, I am struck by that. How many people do feel inspired by my story, but the fact that I'm here standing to tell you my story, and that it does inspire people and motivate people. And so that keeps me going, because this is a labor of love, and it's very labor intensive. It's super fun, but it's hard work, and I keep going because I know that it's making a difference and touching people. So in 2023, to answer your question, is we're going to continue to do music events. We usually do 2 or 3 kind of larger events. Larger, I mean between 200 and 600 people. And then we do a myriad of smaller events where we feature, local artists that might be, 50 to 100 people. And we do that in conjunction with what we call October Breast, because as everybody knows, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But during the pandemic, we couldn't do shows. So we partnered with a local brewery, and they made a special beer for us, an FU Cancer beer. So we'll continue to do that during October Breast, which is obviously a name off Oktoberfest with the beer. So we're going to continue to that. And then we want to continue to distribute wellness and recovery kits to as many people as possible.
I'm glad you mentioned the wellness and recovery kit, Sandy. Can you tell us a little bit about what folks can find when they receive a kit?
Yeah, so after my journey, I would be in touch with other women. Women would get in touch with me and say, oh, so-and-so. And I started putting together these little kits of my favorite things that I've learned, and, lotion, for example, a book called Crazy Sexy Cancer Tips, which I found inspirational and comforting. A pillow that's handmade that you can put, say, between the seatbelt and when you're driving, and, because people go through surgery or they go through radiation, and it's very sensitive. So I started to do that, and that's when we thought, wow, we could really put this together. And it was named Wellness and Recoveries for War Kit, so war against breast cancer. So it has about 11 items that we've handpicked. They're all daily products, are verified by Environmental Working Group, which is an excellent website for checking ingredients to make sure that things that you're using day to day are not toxic. So it has comfort socks, because people going through treatment, a mask. It has a nice cap, hand sanitizer, as I mentioned, lotion. There's healing oil in there as well. A water bottle. Water is so important. That was one of the things my oncologist told me, is drink lots of fluid as you're going through chemo. So for those, you want to flush your liver out. So it's really, there's an example. Oh, and tea, healing tea, and a candle. So it's just really a comprehensive kit. And then each kit is usually recommended by somebody. So inside there is a handwritten note as well.
That's very nice. Things that people wouldn't think about unless they had been through a journey like that with cancer themselves. So
correct.
It's a real beautiful service that you're providing to folks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the custom-made beer for the Oktoberfest month. And that's grown to be more than one local brewer, I understand. Can you talk about the partners involved there?
Yes, so it started with and still continues to be with Canyon Club Brewing out of Moraga, California. And our first year we made 20 kegs and it sold out. It was selling so quickly, we had to hold back on it because we were doing some like little local events and things, and we had to make sure we had enough. The following year we brewed 100 kegs of that, and it was sold in about 20 locations, mostly in Northern California, but a couple in Southern California. And then this past year, we also partnered with Ghost Town Brewing and Del Cielo. Ghost Town is out of Oakland, and Del Cielo is out of Martinez. And it was in 100 locations, both in stores in cans and also by keg in both restaurants and bars.
What can we look forward to for Oktoberfest in 2023?
Well, we'll be doing events throughout the year in 2023 and getting our war kits out and distributed. But in Oktoberfest, we'll be doing the beer again, and hopefully maybe we can bring on some more brewers and expand it to outside of California if we can. But we'll continue to have music be kind of the foundation for bringing the community together as well.
Right. Now, Sandy, you spoke about this being a labor of love.
Yes.
And that's not true just of you and your co-founder, Mark Carlton, but it's true of the team of people that show up to produce these events.
Yes.
From what I understand, it's an awful lot of volunteer labor and folks who show up.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Well, first of all, Clive, very first show we ever did in 2013 was at the Town Hall Theater, where you were executive director, and you were the one who really shepherded us through and showed us how to run an event. We're good marketers and we are very passionate about the cause, but we were kind of new to the event planning piece. So subsequently, you, in addition to Tom Luce, as I mentioned, became board members. So there are 5 of us on the board of directors, and another 50 to 75 people that I have on sort of on call that show up, no questions asked, and help. and it does. It takes an army. It really is. It's a huge production to put on shows. And in October, we're hoping to come back to the Cal Shakes Bronze Amphitheater, which we had to take a little break from for 3 years, given the pandemic. So, I'm sure we can work it out, but yes, we're hoping in October for Oktoberfest, we can have that be our signature event again this year.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Sandy, will you tell folks if they're interested in learning more about Notes for Hope, or indeed interested in volunteering for the organization, how they can get in touch and learn more?
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Our website has everything. You can sign up there to both be a volunteer, to make donations, and we have all the handles. We have Twitter, Instagram. We're even on Facebook, of course. We're even on LinkedIn. So any of those things. We also have just a generic email, info@notes4hope.org. That's NOTES4hope.org. And they can reach out that way as well. And also the war kits. You can recommend through the website to send somebody a war kit.
That's great. Thanks so much, Sandy. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for being here on What's Up Bay Area today. And folks, if you're interested in learning more about Notes for Hope, its mission, or volunteering, or indeed donating to the organization, that's Notes for Hope, NOTES, the number 4, HOPE.org. So glad to have you here today. Thank you for the beautiful work that you do, for benefiting so many people.
Thank you.